Fisker might not be around much longer. So maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. Maybe if you want a cheap EV, hang around and you get one, but then again, it might just be the worst car that you've ever owned. All right, what's going on, folks? I'm Spade.
I'm Cam.
And you are watching Two Brothers Auto. We got something new, brand new and exciting for you guys. It's like a little news show, but we're gonna keep it quick. We're gonna get to the point. We're gonna hit you with some actual factuals. Cam, you excited for this, bro?
Yeah, we're gonna do it. We don't know how often we're gonna do this yet, of course, because you know car news fluctuates. But we got stuff to talk about. We just gonna come with a little quick hit and get at y'all real quick.
I like to say at least once a month, and that, I mean, obviously we got other series that we're gonna be doing on the show. The pick'em videos are still gonna be coming. We're still gonna get out the car shows. We're gonna update you guys on what we're doing with our own individual projects. So it's gonna be other content, but we want to get this news thing popping, man. Cam, if you don't mind, I want to start this thing off.
All right,
bro.
go ahead,
do
bro.
that?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. I want to talk about Stellantis. For those that don't know, Stellantis is the parent company of Dodge, Jeep, Mopar, a bunch of these pretty well-known cars and car manufacturers. So there's something called MDS, or better known as Market Day Supply, and this is a formula that calculates how many days a car manufacturer can go before they'll need to produce more cars. So basically, you produce cars, you ship them out to various dealerships, and they should sell at a certain rate. Well, the top 10 cars currently with the worst MDS has 4 represented by Stellantis. And the one car that I want to talk about here in this news tidbit is the Dodge Hornet. For those that don't know, the Dodge Hornet is an atrocious looking car to me anyway. The car doesn't look good.
I gotta agree, it's ugly.
and it's not selling well. So I've got some numbers here that I want to share with you guys. Currently, it should be the number 1, and I'm mad that it's not, but the number 1 worst car MDS rating is the Jaguar I-Pace, and the reason why I'm somewhat defending this car is because of the number produced and how many's out there. So currently right now there are 332 Jaguar I-Pace cars for sale. That's not a lot. Now granted, they only sold 26 in the last 45 days, but I mean, a Jaguar I-Pace is not a car that you expect people to buy a ton of. The Dodge Hornet, however, is a much more affordable car, and it should be the type of car that you can push out to mass individuals.
And if I'm not mistaken, they kind of like, they were on some like, we expecting a lot of people to buy this when they got rid of, when they stopped the Chargers.
They stopped the Charger, they stopped the Challengers. The EV is supposed to drop in fall of 2024, and maybe it'll bring some success to Stellantis. I gotta be honest, I'm personally not very excited about that car, so I don't expect it to change their fate much, but let me give you some numbers. The MDS for the Dodge Hornet is currently 550. And I just wanna break that number down. That means if Stellantis never makes another Dodge Hornet, the estimate is 550 days before everything they've already produced has sold. That number is terrible. For comparison, the best MDS on the market right now is like 20, and that is owned by Toyota. Toyota's, they're flying off the dealership. There are currently 15,679 Dodge Hornets for sale, and they sold 1,283 in the last 45 days.
Yikes.
And like I said, it's 4 Stellantis cars on this. It's the Dodge Hornet. You go down a little bit further, you see the Jeep Wagoneer. You go down a little bit further, you see the Jeep Gladiator, and there is
Ram on
another one. I was gonna say, oh, the Ram 2500 pickup truck. Now I kind of want to defend the Ram. The Ram has a MDS of 231, but they sold 9,281 in the last 45 days. So the Ram isn't selling bad. They're just overproducing the Ram. There are 47,000 Rams for sale total.
Sheesh.
Cam, that's the Stellantis, that is MDS.
Hey, y'all know it's crazy that the Dodge guy, he gotta call his folks out.
I got a duty to deliver the news, bro.
You do? Okay, you know, I'm quick to call out. Y'all Mopar guys, y'all can have it. But that's pretty bad, bro.
It's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad. But shout out to Toyota, man. Y'all
killing it.
They're going crazy. But in other news, I got something that's gonna piss a lot of people off probably. Porsche has announced the refresh 992 model. This is the .2 refresh. They came up with this announcement, I believe it's been 3 weeks ago since this video. We'll start out with the new Carrera. So the new Carrera is getting the old turbos from, I say old loosely, it's getting the turbos from the .1 GTS. Because of that, it's now producing 394 horsepower.
Nice.
It loses 0.1, not loses, it gains a 0.1 of a second on a 0 to 60. So 0 to 60 in 3.9, I imagine it's probably gonna be like 3.7. Also has a top speed of 184 miles per hour, and the starting price starts out at $122,000 for the
base Carrera.
For the base Carrera, you giving up 122 G's. Moving on to the real meat and potatoes of this. The new GTS is now a single turbo hybrid, and what they're calling a T-hybrid 3.66 cylinder. Boy, when the enthusiasts heard hybrid, this has been rumored for a while. So when people heard hybrid, y'all know how people do. They got to panicking. They taking the fun away from us. Every car is getting further and further away from the truth. And it's no different when this hybrid news came out. The enthusiasts, they in the comments just raging war against electricity. So this what they're calling T-hybrid is very unique, because unlike most hybrids, this hybrid system is not for fuel economy. It is not for EPA. This is not giving you a crazy mileage boost when you drive in the car. This hybrid model is strictly for performance, and that's coming from Porsche themselves. I believe this car does not even have a full EV mode. I don't even think you can drive it in a full electric mode. 0 to 60, and this is starting out on the, I believe, the GTS model. The Spade got a pet he don't know about. That's chirping over here.
I don't like it.
But GTS goes 0 to 60 in 3 seconds flat, 193 mile per hour top speed. That is a little bit faster than the last gen GTS. It was 3.4, 0 to 60 if I recall correctly. It is only 100 pounds heavier than the .1 GTS, weighing in at 3,500 pounds on the curve. So considering that they had an hybrid model and only adding 100 pounds, I'd say that's pretty good. Car has 540 horsepower, 610 newton meters of torque. We'll throw the conversion up there for everybody who wanted it in pound-feet. That is a plus 61 horsepower gain from the .1 GTS. Another big thing the enthusiasts were very upset about: there are no manual gearboxes so far for any of the launched 992.2 models. Me personally, I don't care, because the PDK, in my opinion, is the best automatic transmission out. I don't think anybody can really argue that in good faith. You know, people gonna do what they do, but the PDK is just better than anything else. But yeah, no manual. So if you want a manual gearbox, people saying you probably gonna have to wait till they announce that new GT3. And if the base Carrera for this started at $122,000 and .1 GT3's still going for 250, 300K, I'm scared of what that .2 gonna cost.
You're not gonna be able to get it anyway.
Yeah, and you gotta go through hoops and do jump backflips for Porsche to even get allocated for one. Also, it got a reworked front bumper. They have some new active grills. I believe on the GTS they're vertical,
which I don't like.
Yeah, I do like the new ones on the base Carrera. They're the traditional. I don't like the vertical ones either. But on the Carrera, it's the traditional horizontal slats, but they're a little bit different than last gen. Also on the interior, another thing that pissed off the enthusiasts: the analog rev counter is no more. The dash is all digital now. The gauge cluster is all digital. It's 12.6 inches screen, I believe. Of course, you still got the center console screen with Apple CarPlay. I think that's wireless out of the factory now. Also, the only thing I'm really sad about is that they got rid of the turn key on the left side. It is now a push to start button. And I'm a little weird, but I like turning the little turn key on the left side. I don't know, it's just something about turning the turn key and hearing the engine come on. I'm not like, this wouldn't stop me from getting a 992.2. The money would. That's the biggest detractor.
That's
right
the hurdle.
Now. Yeah, but just pressing the button and it's like, oh, the car on. It's like, all right, that's kind of whack. Y'all could have left the turn key in there portion. But for the GTS, the starting price is $166,000.
Ridiculous.
And that's the coupe version. I'm pretty sure the cabriolet versions for both of these are basically plus 10 to 15,000.
So a few things I want to add on to that. It basically sounds like, I told you guys that my next car purchase was going to be a Porsche 911. It sounds like I will be calling up Doc and Marty McFly and going back to the future, and I'm gonna cop something. I'm gonna cop like a 02, the way the rates are going up, because 2015s, 2014s, 2016, everything is up.
Yep.
Months ago when I was looking, my sweet spot was about 80. 80 won't get me what I want right now. So that's terrible. I do want to say I'm shocked that they got rid of the analog tack.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, our Panamera is all analog. Yours is all analog.
Yep.
They went to a newer setup that had
all
the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
It was digital on both sides, but you still had the analog tack in the middle.
And it looked great too.
And
they did
it
a
looked
phenomenal
great.
job.
People loved it.
Outside of it, some people complained that you couldn't see everything behind the steering wheel, but yeah, like you said, the prices of the later gens are going up. I'm interested to see how, when this car actually drops, what it's gonna do to the market for the later gens. Because if you're not familiar with like the Porsche market, usually, like I said, these cars are like 911 is the best depreciating car as far as not losing value of all time. Like I don't think there's any other car that even rivals it, even not even at the hypercar level.
No, I don't think so.
But these cars, they get down to their floor, and that's kind of it. And oftentimes they'll at some points rise from whatever.
Off the floor.
Yeah, they come back up. Like there is no, they just keep going down. They hit a floor and then they bounce back up. And that's what we're seeing right now. But I'm interested to see, with a lot of the enthusiasts not really liking some of the big changes, I'm wondering, is that going to start leaning towards a lot more people starting to go scoop up these 992s.1, even going back to 991.2s or even .1s, because I got a .1, and one of the big reasons I got it, one, because of price, because it was, you know, relatively cheap. I'm saying cheap, but not really. But when we talk about 911s, it was cheaper, but it's the last that are naturally aspirated. And with a hybrid now, and we getting further and further away from what the enthusiasts call the truth, I'm interested to see how these older gens start to appreciate, and I'll say depreciate, but I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, the market on this is going to be interesting. And I'm also interested to see how many people jump in this new .2 Carrera, because I think 122 for a base. And although we talking about a 911, so a base really still smoking 90% of the cars out here.
It's not really a base. I mean, it is, but
it's not. It's a GTS with a different name.
But also, still, you know what Porsche's known for. Like they're gonna a la carte this thing to pieces. They probably don't even come with floor mats for 122,000. So you're not even gonna get it for 122,000.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be like 140 after you add like all the options you want. Unless you're, I will say this: if you get in the base Carrera and you don't get sports chrono, I disagree with you, but I understand that. Whenever they come out with the S and all that, if you get an S and you don't get sports chrono, you're doing a disservice to all of the Porsche fans, because what are you doing? But that's beside the point. As I'm saying, like I was saying, I just, outside of the super rich and wealthy, and even still, if I got that kind of bread, why would I spend 122 grand on a base? I just don't. That price is aggressive to me. But again, this is a Porsche. They probably gonna sell either way. They don't give a damn about what I'm talking about.
I was about to say, and we're gonna see all the Porsche purists and enthusiasts. We're gonna see if you guys are all talk or what. Because I remember when the GTS went from being naturally aspirated to twin turbocharged.
They complained about it
down to the 3-liter flat six. Everybody hated that, but guess what? Them shit sold too. So, and they flew off the showroom floors as well. So I think you guys are just talking. You always, you want the latest and greatest. They're gonna sell. The price is gonna continue to go up, and my next car is gonna be a Honda Accord. All right, let's move on to our last news topic for the day. U.S. automaker, U.S. electric company maker Fisker files for bankruptcy.
They've been in the news a lot lately.
If you don't know about this company, YouTuber Marquez Brownlee did a video about him, and he titled this video "The Worst Car I've Ever Reviewed." Things haven't been going well for this company, and when they did their quarterly report, I think back in February, they mentioned that they wasn't sure if they were gonna have enough money to even make it throughout the rest of the year, and it looks like they were correct. Last year, this company produced 10,000 of their Ocean model, and reportedly only sold about half of that, only sold about 5,000. So we just got through talking about NDS in the first segment, to produce 10,000 cars in a year and only move 5,000 of those.
Especially when you're a fairly like lesser known, new. That's a killer.
And you know, unlike what is it, Lucid, where you got the Saudi government, you know, giving you $1 million kickouts here and there. Fisker might not be around much longer, so maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. Maybe if you want a cheap EV, hang around and you get one, but then again, it might just be the worst car that you've ever owned.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in on this one, because I'm gonna follow Marquez. So I saw that video, and I think some of this downfall is their own doing, because the way they even replied to his critiques, just like you put a bad taste in people's mouth. You got, first of all, PR nightmare. Why on God's green earth would y'all send an engineer out to do damage control? Because let me tell you something. And I can say this as a technical person. Technical people are not the best when it comes to communicating with non-technical people. Especially when you trying to, usually. Especially when you trying to, you know, fix a pretty sour situation. So man, they got
Marquez is tech savvy, so
he is too.
You know.
But even still, but the way the engineer was not familiar with Marquez, which to each his own. I don't know where you been, buddy, but whatever.
Why are you in the car industry and you don't know this guy?
But he was having a phone conversation with somebody else, and of course this is on YouTube, so you can find it. This ain't no breaking news here. But he was calling Marquez a mouthpiece. And hey, like just talking in a real condescending manner and just talking crazy to the point where now, not only do you have the biggest tech review in the world saying that this is the worst car he's literally ever touched, like no exaggeration, that's what he said, the worst EV he's ever touched.
Ever.
And then you double down on that with basically just insulting this man as if he's some kind of peasant and his opinion don't matter. And boy, the aftermath after that was not great, and I think all the decisions after that were not great. So on top of, you got a bad product, you got bad marketing, and then you got bad damage control. It's a recipe for disaster. On top of that, you knew, so you can't afford, like, you can't afford really one of these slip ups. But the fact that you hit the trifecta for 3, you got all 3 strikes and struck out real quick. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. So maybe, I don't know, they filed for bankruptcy. Maybe somebody will come back with some stupid money a couple years from now and try it again with a better plan. And
maybe they'll do us all a favor and not. This is episode 1 of Two Brothers Auto News. We want to be your source for all your auto news. Now, I know this is episode 1 and you thinking like, whoa, Spade, like that's big aspirations. That's how I roll. You know what I'm saying? I shoot for the stars.
I like the name too. He just came up with that on the fly. Two Brothers Auto News. TBA. That's the acronym we rolling.
You know what I'm saying? That's how we rolling. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you are new here and you enjoyed today's video, consider subscribing. And if you do subscribe, click the bell so you'll get notifications. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Yeah, make sure you tell your aunties and nephews and uncles and all them too.
Tell everybody.
Peace.
Peace.